When we're getting ready to set, we want to make sure the wheel stands are safe and secure. Make sure there's no cracks in the welds. Make sure it's structurally straight and sound. Again, the bend on the side is okay. That's due to our derimmer. But on the top, we don't want any bends or anything like that. Right here, that needs to go away. It doesn't need to be used. We don't want any reason for a frame to be able to slide off of a wheel stand. We want the full valley of that wheel stand intact. We're going to show the difference in some decent welds and some poor welded wheel stands. A lot of these bad ones happen in the initiation, starting a new yard. You're just trying to pump out the wheel stands, but they should have never been out in the yard. This is a bad one, never made good contact on both sides. It has a crack in the other weld because this one's not supporting it structurally. On the other hand, we look over here, this one has good, it's burned in really well to the bottom stand and the top stand. It's very good structurally and is good to use on the vehicle. During inspection, we realize this one is welded in one place. It doesn't have a good weld on this side and it's damaged. So structurally, this wheel stand is not safe and should be removed from the yard. So when rows are prepped to get ready to set vehicles, all of these wheel stands should be moved in behind these other vehicles so that all the walkways that the customers are walking is also back dragged. So before this car got set, they came out and prepped the row. We want to make sure that where the wheel stands are going is flat. There shouldn't be any humps or divots or any holes or anything where those wheel stands are going. The valley of the wheel stand has the most structure of the wheel. The wheel stand should have been, this valley should have been center of either the pinch weld or the frame, but should never be rested on one lip of the wheel. You can see how this one's not even touching the car. Just makes it easy for the car to slide off. This is an example of a proper set wheel stand on this same car as the previous wheel that was not set properly. See how it's in the valley? It's braced up against this weld brace here, and it's very stable. So, you know, an extra 4 inches makes a huge, 4, 5, 6 inches makes a huge difference on the counterbalance. So this one should have been, center of the wheel should have been somewhere like right here. Being that it's bent and leaning over to the side, it should have been removed and a new wheel stand put in this place. Trucks or full-size SUVs, we want to make sure that the wheel stand is not on the slope of the frame where the frame can't slide back off of it. We want to at least leave 3 inches of flat surface in front of the center of the wheel. So this one should have gone back about 3 to 4 inches farther back. On this truck, on the other side, we're lining it up with the leaf spring and the shackle, but we can't hear because the exhaust was not removed on the drain rack. So when a vehicle is on the drain rack, that's when it should be evaluated for wheel stand placement so that anything that needs to get removed out of the way, such as this exhaust pipe, is removed on the drain rack and not in the yard. So on some vehicles, it's easier to pick up a rock, drop it from the center of the frame, and try to get it to the center of the wheel stand. And that helps you line it up when the vehicle's up high. A full-size truck, van, or SUV, we never want to put the wheel stands on the pinch weld or the rocker panel, just because of the weight of the vehicle can cause it to collapse and make the vehicle fall over. On this one, we realize there's a cross member going across here. However, this wheel stand is not in the valley. It should have at least been moved 2 or 3 inches forward. However, it's still so far back, it should have either came right in front of the cross member, or worst case scenario, moved up here in front of the sway bar, which would hold it right there. That's the least preferred because it prevents customers from being able to remove parts, but it also puts it in a safer place. On this truck here that has a torsion bar running, we still want to get it on the frame. So on these, we put them with the wheel just on the other side. As far as possible, without getting on the torsion bar. We still want the wheels sitting on the frame. So on a 3/4 ton, 1 ton vehicle, sometimes the only way to set it is, or the best way to set it, in our opinion, is on this front bar here. But you should be using larger wheel stands with a larger base that gives it more stability, since these vehicles are much heavier. So anytime we're setting a vehicle on the end of the row, that's an end cap, we want to make sure that we set our highest quality, higher demand vehicles on these to where the yard looks more presentable. Vehicles such as this, a town and country, are not that desirable. Honestly, we'd want to put like this Ford Ranger. So when we're auditing sites or doing site visits, we're looking for rows just like this. A good example of rows that have large oil spots under them. That is a result of not tightening the drain plugs. And those drain plugs need to be tightened completely, just as tight as they were when the vehicle was running. Got set a week or two ago, drain plugs completely loose. That's the result. So on full-size trucks and even some small pickups, SUVs, we want to always try to set it on a frame whenever possible. If you can't, we're okay putting it on the leaf spring, but we want to capture the center of the wheel lined up in between the leaf spring and this bracket. And that way it helps hold it forwards and backwards to keep it from sliding out. So when a vehicle is set down on the wheel stands, we want to make sure that there's no tension inwards or outwards for these wheel stands. If it is, then it wasn't positioned properly and it needs to be reset. We want these standing straight up, not under any tension inwards or outwards. Some of the yards have double wheel stands that have one wheel laid down on top of a donut and an upright wheel on top of that. These are only to be used on full-size trucks, full-size SUVs, never cars, never mid-size or small trucks, SUVs. They are very helpful in trucks that don't have a secure shackle here where the wheel stand needs to be put on the frame. It gives a little bit of height for the truck to be set down. Good example of how we set the double wheel stand on the frame versus on the leaf spring. This leaf spring does not have a shackle, so that's why it is set on the frame. They also have a rubber mat, which is used as needed to keep the vehicle kind of more sturdy. It's just a rubber floor mat that's folded in half. So on some trucks, there's room on the front frame horns to be able to put a wheel stand. However, we want these to be secured, but something to keep it from sliding, such as these tow hooks. We just don't want it to be able to slide off the front, but this is an acceptable way of setting.